All right, everyone, welcome back to another Complexity Cast presentation with me, your casting host, and Bryce, aka Emperor from Domain of Pain, is my co-caster, going into Game 2 of VOTE versus ORGE eSports Malaysia, coming out of Dreamhack Winter Group Stages, a static 2 best of 2, whatever you want to call it. 2 games in this series, that is it, as VOTE, Gary Johnson, 2012, took that game in pretty dominating fashion there last time. Emperor, what do you think about that game?
It seemed like a really even game up until the mid. Vote just managed to pull together their lineup a little bit sooner, make some pushes, make some ganks happen, and they just did a great job controlling it. Moon Queen just spiraled absolutely out of control with a 600 GPM farm and seemed unstoppable at the end.
Yeah, very, very, very well played there. Once they were able to get that map control from Fade with that bound die, and nice counter warning coming out of Sender throughout the game. And I mean, that's really kind of what won it for them. The Dark Lady wasn't able to keep up with Keizu's farm. Keizu was farming every single lane. He was farming the jungle. He was farming the enemy team's Ancients, the enemy's team jungle. And Dark Lady was kind of restricted to pretty much her base and, like, you know, just barely outside. Wasn't able to get that farm.
We can bump a lot of that back to the Fade bound eye, just clearing out the wards, establishing map control.
Yep.
But here we go. We're already on to the bans and locks here in this game number 2.
They're flying right now. Bans coming out, the blind bans, the Wild Soul, Tundra, Ophelia, and Fade. Hellborn dropping that Fade ban. They do not want to see Swindlebounds getting a hold of that one again.
Yeah, they were a little bit silly to underestimate the power of that hero in Game 1, but they definitely took it out this game. A bunch of just god-tier, quote-unquote, hero bans coming out here. Nothing too special. Right away we see Midas locked by Vote. I imagine that's just got to be more of a troll lock coming out from Swindle.
Very, very possible. Now, Midas was actually played in one of the scrims last week. I'm trying to remember who. Jeppins actually played Midas.
Okay, I know Jeppins played it in the tournament as well. I'm never too impressed with the power of the hero right now. I think he needs a little bit of a boost, but maybe it's not a troll lock. Meanwhile, we are seeing Tempest, Keeper, Bubbles following there. So
yeah, Keeper, Tempest, 2 very, very strong pushing heroes, and of course Warbeast as well. But 4 junglers making it into the lock right there. What do you think about the power of that lock overall? Anything tell you about these 2 teams?
Really standard. You see just a bunch of even Midas is a potential suicide. Usually you see a bunch of suicides and junglers usually because neither team wants to get necessarily screwed out of the picking phase. They always want to have their options open. I think the Keeper Tempest lock is always something interesting to look at because Keeper is considered to nullify Tempest a little bit with that ulti, but there's still ways to work around it. But I always like seeing that both of those locks in the pool there.
All right, bans coming out. Dark Lady being banned by Swindlemelon, so sorry, not going to be getting that one again, WTF. Tremble, Draconis, Pebbles, Parasite, and Demented Shaman actually making it into the lock pool there as well. So ORGE eSports saying we don't want to have to deal with that DS, something that Complexity has been very, very known for banning the last week or so, saying we don't want you guys getting that hero. We don't want you pushing on us. Demented Shaman, a very strong hero in his own right. Anything else to point out there with those bans?
No, just that Draconis was banned, but Silhouette was left, making Silhouette that go-to ranged agility carry. And sure enough, Vote picked him up right away for their first draft. Magnus picked up here. I wonder if they're going to go for an engineer for a strong, strong dual lane. Magnus NG is almost infallible when placed in the mid. Yep.
Yeah, there it is. A lot of teams really falling back on this combination in that mid lane. Players like B-Kid and Franzi really, really making it work, and every other team showing that they are capable as well. But Deadwood Glacius coming out over here for Vote. Now that's a combination that Swindlemelons and Sender found themselves very comfortable with in actually dealing with the Magnus Engineer lane.
Yeah, it's a lot more powerful than people give it credit for. Deadwood did get that buff to his shackle. I'm not sure, the roots, the shackle. I'm not sure exactly what the ability is called right now in short notes. Rod and Grasp. He has a buff to his Rod and Grasp. It actually is like I think a 2-second grip now at level 2, 1.5 at level 1. They improved the scaling on it overall. And makes him a little bit more laneable, stronger in that dual lane mid, and just a more viable option in general.
I like it quite a bit. Now Moon Queen actually being picked up on the other side, so ORGE eSports saying, hey, Keizu, you can do this. Well, anything you can do, I can do better. And WTF probably going to be playing that hero. Moon Queen on the other side right there. What do you think about ORGE eSports' chances with that hero?
I know Orange is very comfortable running. I've seen them run in a lot of scrims, and even a little bit before the tournament, they were using the hero quite a bit. Keeper of the Forest picked up here against the Moon Queen. Minions are always nice against the Moon Queen ulti, and Keeper is pretty strong against Tempest, but there are ways to get around that, so it's not the biggest issue in the world. But right now, it's looking like a pretty good draft coming out from both teams. A little bit more aggression coming out from the Hellborn for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what both these teams choose to finish up here, as Orange Esports going to be going into their last pick right now. Magnus, Engineer, Moon Queen, Tempest. Which one of the last four do you think is going to make it in?
Bubbles or Plague Rider for sure. I just don't know what they're going for more so. I mean, Plague can do a little bit better against the Silhouette, deny a bit more farm. That's for sure. Actually, but why he was highlighting Plague Rider, but Plague Rider wasn't even that long.
I was gonna say
War Beast. I'm sorry, they're not even going for a straight up suicide again, are they? I mean, actually, they could do a Tempest suicide here in a very aggressive lineup in general. I've seen Orange run without a jungler quite a bit, and they make it work. And actually, they have a War Beast here, so they're definitely going for a more aggressive lineup. They're gonna throw that Tempest in the suicide. Jungler up there. It's gonna be. Magnus NG mid, Moon Queen top. Moon Queen will be facing off, should be facing off against that Keeper of the Forest. So
yeah, Moon Queen against Keeper of the Forest. We talk about Keeper's ability to really, really do effective suicide, but how does he stack up against that Moon Queen, who's going to have that short lane, going to have coverage from a War Beast?
Keeper can definitely get experience, get levels just fine, but Moon Queen will be guaranteed a pretty decent farm. Overall, it doesn't smash a Keeper like, say, a Soul Reaper would, or another similar hero, but it still works.
All right. And the last pick for Vote was, in fact, going to be Legionnaire. So Z-Freak, a hero that he has been very, very fond of. We talked about that in Game 1, where he actually did not make it in. But this time, Legionnaire going to make it into the draft for Vote. And how do you think Legionnaire is really going to stack up in the late game? You have minions coming out of Tempest and Warbeast. Is he a pretty effective hero at dealing with those heroes late game?
Yeah, he's okay. I wouldn't say like the minion clearance is, you know, his what you look at when you see Legionnaire, but yeah, he'd be fine against it for sure. I do like the team fight I'm seeing coming out of Orange's lineup. I do love that Mag Lines, and combined with the Tempest. I know they have a Keeper, but they have multiple forms of initiation here, and I know they have minions, like Keeper minions and stuff like that for the Moon Queen, but if she's farmed up enough, has her Geos, has her items, she's just going to tear through those anyway and still get her ulti off, so.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted down here looking at this Tempest skin. I think this Tempest skin is just atrocious. I don't like it. It freaks me out, man. It freaks me. I'm going to be distracted the entire game looking at that.
What
Tempest
is that
skin
called even? I remember it came out quite a while ago now.
Phantom Tempest, something like that. I don't know, but it's I don't like it.
A little bit like Slimer from Ghostbusters, kind of.
I don't know, man. I might not actually be able to look at that hero for the rest of the game, so we'll see. Anytime the Tempest comes on the screen, you just have to take care of it. So. But both teams are just kind of getting into position right there. We saw a little bit of gank setup as Legionnaire was kind of hanging out there with Deadwood and Glacius at the top room, but nothing going to happen there. And so these lanes are, as we predicted, Glacius and Deadwood going to stack up against that Magnus Engineer lane in the middle, probably going to be where the majority of the action happens here in this early game. So we'll keep a close eye on that one. On the other side, though, Silhouette going to be going up against a Suicide Tempest, who's already had his first mana potion broken right there. How do you think that lane's going to stack up?
Suicide Tempest versus Silhouette?
Mm-hmm.
If Silhouette gets enough early harass on the first few levels and mitigates the timing at which Tempest gets his Ring of the Teacher finished, he does really well in this bottom lane. Tempest still does hold up his own enough. He can still get some decent CS. A bit better of a matchup, though, than Moon Queen versus Keeper. I'd say Silhouette has a little bit more of an edge, so a little bit in favor of Vote.
Yeah, and you can already see right now Keizu just laying in the damage with that Relentless Salvo. Tempest taking a ton of return damage every time that he tries to get in there for a last hit. Keizu just pounding away. And, well, Keizu actually missed 3 last hits right there. That's a little bit unfortunate, but...
Yeah, but he did do a good job of laying in that early harass into Tempest, which is really what you need to do to establish the lane control and get that further farm.
For sure.
I like how people consider Silhouette sort of like the ranged Ursa from Dota. Just very powerful with that salvo damage for the harass in lane.
Yeah, you stick a blink on that hero, he comes in and lays down that Earth Shock, and you're about to have a bad day.
Yeah, and then throw some 600 range on him and an AoE nuke,
and you got Silhouette.
Combine him with Morphling. Yep.
Yeah, you look at Silhouette and you're like,
no surprise why the hero is often first picked.
A very, very strong hero, of course. Now here in the middle lane, Glacius and Deadwood trying to really get something happening, but both of the supports actually moving away to camp the runes. Actually in the middle lane, Lava Surge going to be coming in there with the keg as well, and the turret going to be following it up. But Swindlemon's on that big strength tanky dude. Actually just going to go ahead and back on off. Only lost about half of his life right there. With 700 life and 3 armor, he's able to take quite a bit of harassment. If Glacius had gotten targeted down right there, I think we might have been talking about a first blood.
Right. Definitely. I don't think Glacius could do much to save himself from that combination. Very, very powerful. I mean, Engineer's Steam Turret's actually 100 damage as well with only 1 pointing to it. And by level 2, 200 damage. One of the more powerful level 2 nukes in the game. So if he does opt to get level 2 turret, which I believe he would, yes he does.
Alright, so CS here in the middle lane. Deadwood is sitting at 15-0, so Swindle probably pretty comfortable with that. On the other side, Magma's actually going to come in with a Lava Surge. The turret going to come in as well, starting to apply the slow onto Deadwood. But once again, they're not quite able to get that kill. Applying a lot of harassment, but not able to really secure it, bring home that Bloodlust. Magma's actually at 11 and 2 CS right now. Not quite as good as the Deadwood, but not bad by any means.
Yeah, not bad. I mentioned before last game that Glacius as the mid support hero, a little bit hard to actually go out and get those kills against like a mag NG lane, but as far as the defensive support goes, if they go on your more tanky hero, your Deadwood, your Pebbles, you can still usually make sure they survive. Especially Deadwood, who actually is sitting on a reasonable amount of armor compared to a Pebbles, so.
Yeah, Deadwood armor can be one of his strong suits for sure. Now up at the top lane, WTF actually going to be trying to apply a little bit more harassment to the tree. Actually, no, he nuked down a creep right there. So pretty much saying, kind of forget it, tree. Like, I'm just going to nuke down whatever I can. And did you actually catch what happened there in the jungle?
No, Tempest roamed on him, and I'm sure he was like trying to jungle, and Z-Freak just tried to make the best of it by suiciding. I guess he was low life, trying to jungle, power farm. And meanwhile, Wang Wang, I think Wang Wang actually... Wang Wang had to have forced suicide there, because he's actually looking at it unfortunate. I think he had a Catman and a Goater stack, which is a little bit sketchy. It might have actually been a forced suicide, but he didn't spend his gold before he died. He bought a second Ring of Protection here. He definitely could have bought his Ring of the Teacher. He's got the gold for it now. Did he buy before? I'm pretty confused.
I am also pretty confused at this point.
He wasn't being contested at all. A little bit of a weird start for Wang Wang. Only level 3 here coming up to the 5-minute mark. He didn't receive any harass, did he, in the enemy woods?
Not that I saw, actually. So, very odd. And I mean, while both of those junglers were dying to neutral creeps, there was actually almost a kill on Magnus as well. Mag was down to about 80 life, but was able to get on out of their top lane. Keeper taking more harassment from WTF, playing this Moon Queen. Skyzo trying his best up there, and he's actually level 5, so doing a very good job. And even at 250 GPM, so as you said, Keeper of the Forest just able to get so much done in that lane, keeping himself invisible, soaking up all the experience, and even getting the last hits when he can.
Right. Definitely very powerful. And as I said, the bottom matchup still going in favor of Silhouette. So I did like Vote's lanes a little bit more, and even the jungle farms a little bit faster than a War Beast. And you can see how it's stacking up in their golden experience right now. There's been no deaths for either side, but they are leading with 1,400 gold advantage simply because of their lanes. Deadwood in that mid lane being able to CS a lot stronger than a Magnus too.
I like it. So Tempest down here does have a bottle, so he's trying to really camp these bottom runes, but right now we actually see Z-Freak making his way down there, and Glacier is going to make his way toward top, so who gets it? It is in fact going to be top, as Deadwood will bottle up an Invis. Well, Swindle actually going to miss it the first time, but the second time's the charm, bottles that one up, and once he hits level 6 here relatively soon, an invisible Deadwood could certainly be somebody that could get a Bloodlust.
Oh, for sure, and he's edging on that level 6 very soon here. I mentioned before the lanes are not going ideally for Orange right now, but it was to be expected. I think the strength of their lineup still it resolves a little bit more in their team fight compared to their laning phase.
Yeah, the team fight once come mid-game, I mean, getting a blink onto that Magnus, maybe a blink onto that Engineer, and actually in the middle lane, the Invis was actually given to Glacius, so he's kind of sitting over here looking like he wants to get maybe an Ice Imprisonment onto this Engineer at some point, but with Magnus there, with that Lava Surge, it's going to be relatively hard to get that off, so we'll see. Keep a close eye on this one, but like you said, the mid-game potential of ORGE eSports, very, very strong.
Yeah, Wing Wing's still level 4 here in the woods at 7 minutes in. That is very peculiar without receiving any harass. Maybe it was a matter, I didn't catch it quite early. Maybe a Catman camp spawned. He maybe didn't deal with it quite right and just caught him off guard.
Top lane. That's going to be first blood for sure. Skyzo actually taking the ultimate there from Tempest. Tries to get the Nature's Veil off, but not going to happen. WTF takes home first blood right there. So even though Skyzo did a very nice job right there, not quite able to get away from that as the rotation comes in from XXF and the Tempest Elemental Void going to bring home first blood.
And we see Warbeast joining the top lane as well. We've got the Elementals, we've got Warbeast. That should be a dead tower here. Great job. That's what you need to do when you're against a keeper with the Tempest too. Don't worry so much about using your ulti in team fights. Just look for those pickoffs, look for those split pushing, and try to avoid direct team fights, I think, for a little while there. So great use of the ulti as soon as it was available for XSF.
I agree with that one. Shiyu actually going down with the Magnus Lava Surge and is able to snag that haste rune from the very wanting embrace of Z-Freak, but Legionnaire walks away without it. And now it looks like the Hellborn team going to be actually putting a secondary push in here to the next tower in the top lane.
They have to be careful, though, I must say. They don't have the most powerful initiation yet coming out from the Legion team, even with that root there. It's sort of hard to port in and actually catch them, so... I mean, they've got stuns. Warbeast actually not level 6 yet, as I thought he might have been, but it's sort of hard for them to stop a push at this point in the game. Legionnaire, meanwhile, within a very impressive 1,900 gold farmed up. No ring of health picked up. He went Whispering Helm first. I heard a little bit about this, and I have not seen it in action yet. He likes to go Whispering Helm first item on Legionnaire. Pretty peculiar, and supposedly farm like absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
actually, it's enough to where some of the players actually consider it a viable tactic and very powerful. So I need to see how this works out.
I agree with you on that count. Now, middle lane, actually, Swindelmon's in some trouble. Gets the Nature Veil right there. So the additional armor, what level is that? That's level 4. So 12 additional armor right there. Going to keep Swindelmon's safe and sound. Use that bottle charge, and he will get right back up to full life. Now, Magnus actually going to come in right there. He does have that haste, though, so he's going to be able to Lava Surge in and get out of there. Absolutely no problem. Silhouette actually rotating toward that middle lane. Now, do you agree with her trying to come over here and start this push, or would you rather her just stay bottom farm the jungle?
Bottom lane is pushed out right now. She can't farm there. Legionnaire is farming the wood, so I think she's just trying to make something happen, apply some pressure. And as I said, I don't think Orange needs to look for those team fights per se right away with Keeper versus Tempest. Tempest ulti is still down for 40 seconds, and I think Vote knows that. So they're trying to get a tower.
Legionnaire might actually be in some trouble as in comes the Lava Surge. The Keg actually going to miss. Turns it around with the taunt, the Decapitate, and down goes Engineer. Mr. Ghost in some trouble right there. Z-Freak is actually going to die to the Glacial Blast, though Tempest managing to pick that one up. So a 1-for-1 exchange and losing a Legionnaire for your Engineer, not ideal, but being able to bring home that Engineer kill on really a situation where Legionnaire should have just died without getting anything. Nice job from Z-Freak to turn that one around a little bit.
Right. I'm so interested to see how he uses this. I mean, does he have he has a creep dominated already, right? He's got to have something done. It's on cooldown.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where it is. It actually does have a Vagabond leader there in the middle lane. But it's looking like there might be a little bit of initiation here as Keeper of the Forest is coming out. He wants to drop that root. The root catches Tempest and Warbeast right there. Lava Surge comes in, hits Silhouette, but down goes Tempest. Not able to get that ultimate off. The Warbeast activates that ultimate, and he's going to try to get on out of there. Magnus also walking away for the time being. Z-Freak trying to catch him, but not quite going to be able to. So it looks like Tempest, the only one to fall right there, as a 5-on-5 engagement in the middle lane occurs. And oh my man, Legionnaire actually just demolished that triple stack. 6 dragons falling right there, and going to very easily be able to clean up the rest of them as well. So maybe that's something that's nice about this Legionnaire, able to clean up those triple stacks very, very easily with the heavy armor build he's going.
Right, right. That's got to be it. It looks like he's going for a fast bulwark here too, more to complement his farming. Unless he's going plated greaves.
Yeah,
I would
that's
not doubt to see a plated greaves rushed here. That would make a lot more sense actually to see coming out. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, plated greaves already finished up. They're going to be brought out to him by the bird, so that is going to be nice. And bulwark,
Armor
of course,
very good against war beasts.
Yeah. Oh, and Moon Queen. Very nice. Maybe so in the later game a little bit more, but in the early game it certainly does not hurt. And I mean, there's some other physical stuff coming out. I believe that. No, I thought turret was physical for the physical slow, but not physical damage. Now that I think about it.
Right.
And
actually have two Vagabond leaders here in the mid lane. One from KZu, one from Z-Freak. Z-Freak might start using his to start stacking his own jungle while KZu uses his to stack the Ancients, so just trying to get some resource control there. Magma's finishing his PK here as well. Actually, he sold it right after buying it. What is he going for?
I think he just wanted to
maybe he
get
wanted
it.
To hide the purchase of it. Yes, he wanted to go buy. Okay, never mind. He wanted to buy it from the side shop instead of using the courier.
And it's a good thing he bought it because in comes Deadwood, but actually the Steam Bath right there, preventing Swindlemelons from getting that punch off, and that would have been a very, very dead lava crab if that had gotten off.
But not quite soon enough. Orbeez caught the Legionnaire in his own Ancients. Engineer tried to follow up with the keg, but Legionnaire TP'd out in time.
Oh, I didn't even see that. You're talking, and I could not see where the action was going on right there, but it was over at the Ancients. I didn't see all that.
Legionnaire was trying to actually steal the Ancients of the Hellborn team, just trying to resource control a little bit, but to no avail.
Speaking of the resource controlling that we had on the Vagabond leaders earlier, Z-Freak's Vagabond leader is caught right there as Mr. Ghost brings that one home, but they're going to turn it around a little bit as the Tempest actually drops the Elemental Void, catching Legionnaire, but the Root immediately going to come out as well. Mr. Ghost on that Engineer going to fall, and the ultimate going to be activated from Moon Queen right there. She's going to try to get something happening, but not going to happen just yet. Orbeez is so low on life. Skyza wants to be able to finish him off, but it's not going to happen. Magnus does have that portal key available to him in about another 20 mana, but is he going to be able to get out of there? The mana rate going to be going off, and Deadwood wants to kill this Magnus. Magnus has 6 more seconds until he has enough mana, and he's going to be able to get out of there. The pursuit from Vote not quite successful. Now, let's take a little bit of stock of what happened there. It looks like WTF did get the kill onto Legionnaire, so nice job there for Moon Queen. And Deadwood got a double tap right there, I believe, onto Engineer and onto Tempest. So who would you put that team fight in favor of?
I mean, it looked like, just looking at the graphs, we're looking at still a little bit of a gain that happened for Vote, so I think probably them in the end. If we look at the GPM between Silhouette and Moon Queen, Silhouette's leading by around 70 or 80 GPM here. Looking very strong for her. Mag, once again, I said he does have his PK, and I do like the team fight coming out from the Hellborn team if they can put it together, but we'll just see how it winds up playing out.
Yeah, we'll see, as there actually is a push coming out here onto the middle lane. In comes Legionnaire. He's going to use his charge with the Lava Surge, as well as a keg going to come out in return. The Glacial Blast even going to be in, as well as the taunt goes down. And Z-Freak as well as Silhouette able to clean up a few creep kills each there.
Yep. Item builds. How close are people closing into what they're going for now? KZu, only 1,900 gold right now. He did go Whispering Helm first, so I don't think we're going to be seeing the whole Nullstone build this game. Probably a Shrunken, a Geos, items like that coming out from him. Eventual Portal Key, I hope, since I think Portal Key is almost always essential on Silhouette at some point in your build. It's just so effective on him. Keeper sitting at 1,500 gold. If he's not going Plated, not going Bulwark, he's probably looking at a PK coming up soon as well.
Yeah, very true there. And now it's worth noting that with this Tempest, I mean, Tempest has not had the best of games. In that suicide lane, not going to be in that jungle, of course, so you would expect his GPM to be a little bit lower, but sitting at 236 GPM right now, a little bit on the low scale, and as a result, he's not able to get that portal key that you might want to get that initiation out to really start one of those team fights here in the mid-game. I mean, are you even looking at getting a portal key here on
I don't know,
Tempest?
when you're looking at it, yeah, maybe still even against the Keeper, but with Keeper so close to his, I mean, he's going to be sitting waiting to counter-initiate, as I mentioned, so it's a little bit of a difficult question to answer with that one. He might have to just go more tanky items instead, maybe earlier Shrunken, I'm not too sure.
Yep, we shall see. Speaking of portal keys, Deadwood picking up his right there, so Deadwood will be able to absolutely Falcon punch some people in the face at some point here. But Deadwood actually only level 9 right now. Going to be level 10 very soon, I would expect, because he's been level 9 for quite some time. But without that level 2 ultimate, he's not nearly as fearsome. And
I think it scales almost twice the damage too.
Oh, incoming the root here in the middle lane, the portal in, but actually a big Tempest Elemental Void coming out right there, catching 2 players. The punch onto Moon Queen, but she just did not take any damage. And 3 members of VOTE going to drop right there. They even got the tower. So a beautiful, beautiful engagement. That's the team fight that you were talking about from ORGE eSports Malaysia.
Yeah, I feel like VOTE was picking a fight they did not need to pick right there. I mean, they had a great edge coming out. They could have just taken the top tower, which obviously is being dropped here by the siege unit. I mean, they TP'd into an NG ulti. Tempest winds up landing a beautiful ulti in spite of Keeper. Keeper, I think, acting a little bit preemptively there, because even with that root, NG got his ulti off, prevented the follow-up, and Tempest landed just an amazing black hole there. Orange looking strong in what looked like a grim game before that moment. GPM of Moon Queen actually surpassing the Silhouette now. You
know what? Moon Queen Silhouette kind of tying up right there. The gold lead and experience lead completely evened now. And ORGE eSports looking like a new and refreshed team. Magnus with the portal key of his own. He's had that for quite some time, but he's going to be able to start looking at new items himself. I mean, Moon Queen going to be able to make her first big pickup here. What does she actually spend her money on? She's got that Mighty Blade, so might she already have a Shrunken Head flying out? No, it's just a Warhammer for the time being.
And it's still only a few hundred gold she's looking at keeping away. Or is the Warhammer even... Yeah, it is owned by her, but still. Very, very close to it either way.
Yeah, would you? Is that other Mighty Blade for Warbeast? Is he going to be working on a Shrunken Head?
It's got to be. It's got to be. I can't. It's glitching out a little bit when I highlight the items on the courier.
Yeah, same here.
So I can't quite gather, but yeah, it got delivered to Warbeast, of course.
So 2 Shrunken Heads making their way out here relatively soon for the Hellborn team. And that's going to be very useful against some of these heroes. It's going to be breaking the root on Keeper of the Forest. Going to make sure that they're safe from somebody like the Glacius, but you have a lot of physical disable coming out here from the Hellborn, or excuse me, the Legion team, in terms of the taunt from Legionnaire, in terms of the Rotten Grasp from Deadwood, things that are really going to kind of go through Shrunken Head just a little bit. Can't really stop yourself from being punched.
Right. Map control-wise, Sender's sitting only, I believe, 1 ward on the map, and that's here in Top River, a little bit more of a passive ward. I'm sure he's looking to go get some vision right now. He has one word of sight, 1 word of rev on him. He is moving. Are they trying to ward in the enemy woods? Maybe they are applying some pressure here and using those trees to scout, I think.
No, Sender actually is just going balls deep right here. He's saying, kind of screw it.
Yeah, he did have the animated tree, and now they have vision of those neutral camps. So if they want to make a play, pretty good move by him.
Yeah. Of course. So I like the aggressive warding coming in right there. That's really what you need to do. So if they want to try to take advantage of, maybe pick off this Warbeast or the Moon Queen in the jungle there. Speaking of Moon Queen, already finishing up that Shrunken Head. And you really need to take advantage of your aggressive lineup. That Deadwood really hasn't done a whole lot in this game. I mean, we're only at 10 hero kills, 20 minutes into the game. Deadwood at 2-1-1. He's farming well, but not really picking off the enemy team, which the Moon Queen and the Warbeast, 2 heroes that do kind of need to be dealt with. Otherwise, they're just going to get some very, very strong farm. Already sitting at 428 and 283 gold, respectively. Even that Tempest making a little bit of a comeback at 326 GPM after getting some of those assists and the tower kills in middle lane.
Yeah, I think it really, the story does come back to that mid-fight. I mean, although the kills might not have been coming out as much, the pressure or the risk of their team getting killed was still leading to an advantage for VOTE. I mean, they were sitting on almost 5k gold in experience before that fight. So that mid-fight really just did change the pacing of the game.
I could certainly agree with that. And so now, instead of already having some of the big items that they might need, like that Legionnaire needing that portal key, he actually is missing that portal key. And now Engineer coming in drops the Rev Ward right there. And it is going to scout out the Deadwood, who was invisible, and both teams kind of falling back a little bit after that one. It's a little bit odd that Legionnaire doesn't have that portal key already. And sorry, go ahead.
You're looking at you're looking at the, oh my god, Keizu.
Yeah, Keizu, actually, Swindle Melon's coming in right there with the TP. Keizu had a very nice tree grapple that was followed up immediately by the Willowmaker from Deadwood, and Warbeast just fell before he was even able to activate that ultimate.
Yeah, it seems like he was just trying to apply some split pushing there to the bottom lane while Boat was top, but they had someone already anchored down bot ready to jump him, so... I was saying before, yeah, Legionnaire without his PK is a little bit awkward against this Hellboard lineup, because you're looking at Engineer with his ulti. I mean, you can't just charge right into that, and if Deadwood was to jump in, they don't exactly have a lot of easy follow-up. I mean, there's a lot of defensive stuns, defensive spells coming out from this orange team to protect their, protect their teammates, so they definitely need to get that up.
And so we talked about a little bit earlier, the Whispering Helm pickup from Legionnaire. We've heard that it enables him to farm extremely fast, but yeah, Z-Freak's sitting at 280 gold per minute right now on this Legionnaire. That doesn't seem too extremely fast to me. You got to figure that Orange is just doing something right here, able to keep down that Legionnaire. I mean, of course, you do have Silhouette that is farming very, very well. 460 GPM, currently the top farmer in the game by about 40. And so a lot of that farm might be being soaked up by that Silhouette. That could be some of the reason. And of course, even Deadwood farming right now as well. So he's sitting at 104 CS that could have been going to secondary farm priority hero like Legionnaire. So Z-Freak really does need that portal key at some point, but as he triple stacks the Ancients right here, he's going to be looking to clear those up. And I think that once he does, he should have enough for his portal key.
Oh, for sure. One Ancient stack alone should give it to him, so he is going to get it after this camp. If portal key is what he's going for, and I hope it is, because they do need that follow-up.
Yeah, once he gets that portal key, they might be able to make something happen. Team up with the portal key there from Deadwood. We'll see. Moon Queen already with that Shrunken Head finished. Warbeast's going to be working on his, and Moon Queen actually just has a Firebrand delivered right there, so going to be putting out a little bit more damage and adding to her mobility, now up to 418 movement speed. Going to be useful there, and probably turn that into a Geometer's Bane a little bit later. Something to use a secondary version of breaking that route from Keeper of the Forest.
He's not going portal key. He is going for a Barrier Idol, ultimately, it looks like.
Legionnaire?
Yeah.
Did he just pick that up?
He just picked, I believe he just picked up the items for...
Okay.
Yeah. Really close to a Barrier Idol. I believe even the Barrier Idol, not that it matters so much, but I believe that even gets purged off if they do walk into the NG ulti. And they, once again, I don't think they have enough hard follow-up to this Deadwood single target stun.
Oh, Keizu up here in the top lane. He's going in, but the Glacial Blast going to come out. He's able to use that Shadow spell at the very last second and get out of there. So Keizu nearly gave me a heart attack right there as he just kind of walked into 4 heroes and almost died.
Yeah, I mean that goes to show the power of what Silhouette's able to accomplish using the Shadow. Though, I mean her split pushing is very, very, very difficult to stop, and you need to apply resources to try to stop it. But even when you go and chase her off with your team, there's a pretty high chance she's going to get away. Unless you have complete lockdown of her, there's no way to stop it.
Yeah, and we saw it right there. The Moonbeam into the Lava Surge, into the Glacial Blast, the Keg as well. But as soon as those 3 stuns were done, the Glacial Blast in the half a second between those, able to just activate that and get on out of there. And middle lane, Swindlemoun's actually picking off Warbeast right there. Do you happen to catch that one?
I actually just caught the very, very tail end. We can just look here. It's a Glacius. It's a Deadwood.
Yeah.
It's a level 10 Warbeast. We know what happened.
Yeah.
Deadwood just got the root off, jumped in on him. See you later, Warbeast.
See you later, Warbeast, indeed. Now, Magnus has actually been sitting on the same items for quite some time right here. What do you think that Chiyu might be saving up for? He's gotten that Ring of Sorcery and another 1,000 gold right here. They might actually try to go in on this Magnus. Deadwood actually going to be spotted out right there by Engineer. The Lava Surge coming out, catching Deadwood, and in comes Tempest. Tried to get that Elemental Void off, but not quite able to. The Moon Queen ultimate as well as the Keeper of the Forest ultimate going to be going off right there. And now Moon Queen and Silhouette are having a little bit of a man fight, as now Silhouette taking the Lava Surge right there. The Moonbeam going to be following up, and Silhouette trying desperately to get out of the tree grapple, but the last auto attack does in fact finish him off as WTF brings home a double tap right there, and the Legion team has to fall back. A 3-for-2 exchange favoring Orange eSports Malaysia right there, and Tempest didn't use his Elemental Void, so he still got that up for another follow-up team fight.
No, he sort of served his function in that fight. He sort of just, quote unquote, was an all stone for his team, absorbing the Willowmaker of Deadwood from maybe some of the more important damage output heroes like Moon Queen, like War Beast. So Tempest sort of took one for the team in the face there.
Deadwood actually in some trouble right here. Z-Freak is, excuse me, Warbeast has activated his ultimate right there. And Axe is trying to come back in. Legionnaire trying to grab that taunt, but not quite able to. The Keg going to be coming out right there as well as the turret. A beautifully placed turret, and Warbeast going to be going in there. Tries to get the last hit onto that Glacius, but not quite able to, as XXF pulls that one in. All 5 members of the Hellborn team now turning their attention to Kongor, going to be able to take the big guy down, no problem.
Yeah, Z-Freak, meanwhile, still, I believe it's 1,000 gold off of his barrier idol still. I just can't agree with his item build this game. I do like unique item builds. I do like seeing it where it works, but I just feel like he's so one-dimensional without having that portal key. I mean, an engineer, the ulti, unless they break it, I mean, he can't really approach the fight from any good angle here. Silhouette doesn't have a PK either. It's really hard for them to make use of what Deadwood and Tree have to set up for them, so...
Yeah, Keizu actually bought back there after that team fight. She was kind of there in the vicinity when they were killing Kongor, but I mean, that seems like kind of a wasted buyback to me. She didn't really need to do it. They weren't going to lose racks, and they also didn't really have enough to really stop that Kongor fight. I suppose if they hadn't lost Glacius and Deadwood, they would have had 4 players up right there, everything available to them other than that tree ult. That could have been a very different story, but a wasted buyback right there puts her quite a far ways behind the Moon Queen, who now has that Shrunken Head, has the Geometer's Bane, 508 GPM, and the Aegis of Life now. So,
right, and with the Shrunken Heads picked up on the Hellborn team, we're looking at the disable that Legion can put out. Yes, there's Deadwood, but as far as that Keeper ulti is concerned, there's no like major AoE stun or major AoE set to follow up on top of that, especially with no PK, as I said on Legionnaire. So, you know, even the Frostbite from Glacius is slow, all of that can be dispelled by Shrunken Head. So they're really lacking a lot of lockdown in these team fights.
Oh, Glacius in some trouble right here. Sender trying to get a little bit of counter warding done, and not quite able to, as Mr. Ghost and Shiyu actually team up right there. Engineer going to bring home the kill and defend his wards, and now the Hellborn team even stealing the triple stacked Ancients, rubbing salt in the wound right there.
Yeah, ouch, ouch, ouch. Hate to see that kill in support here right away, followed by those Ancient kills. Such a huge resource swing.
Yeah, and speaking of resource swing, I mean, ORGE eSports now up 5,000 gold and 7,000 experience here at 29 minutes into the game. We saw about 15 minutes ago that the Legion team was actually up about 5,000, 4,000. So a very nice job from ORGE eSports turning this one around, and it really comes back down.
Magnus trying to ulti in here onto... Oh, quick reflexes by the Silhouette. Caught the Magnus just as he blinked in, but before the lava surge got off. Warp back to his illusion, and he's safe.
And Magnus did actually use his ultimate right there. So that's now going to be on cooldown for another minute and a half and not available for a team fight if there were one to occur right here, which there very well could be. The dust coming out. Engineer going to be the focus in Cubs Keeper of the Forest. Landing that root, but he didn't save it for the Tempest, so the Elemental Void going to be going off right there. Deadwood in some trouble. Warbeast going to be able to run him down. Moon Queen coming in with the ultimate, and the barrier activated, but doing absolutely nothing as 4 members of VOTE do fall right there. The only one left alive is, in fact, Keizu. Actually, Tree was able to get out of there as well. He's able to port on out, and another huge fight for ORGE eSports Malaysia.
Right, and should be followed by a gigantic push coming out here by the Hellborn team. Moon Queen's Geos is used for this bottom tower. I think they should keep going, though. Warbeast, Howl, level 3. He's got his Abyssal. They got everything they need to push into the base here. And no Keeper ulti, mind you, so they have really no way to approach and defend their base.
Now, there are buybacks available on Deadwood if he needs it, but he's only got 12 more seconds. He's thinking that he wants to be able to save it.
24 seconds.
Yeah, so Deadwood actually not going to be able to get back up in time. This is the Moon Queen that we saw last game. The glaives bouncing absolutely everywhere. Warbeast and Moon Queen, both games, one team going to be getting them. It was VOTE in the last game, and this time ORGE eSports getting it, and ORGE looking very, very strong at the same time that VOTE started to look very strong in the last game.
Yeah, that's true. Right around that 30-minute mark, I believe, is when it was. So. But once the Geos is finished, once the BKB, the Shrunken Head is finished on the Warbeast, that is when the lineup begins to really take shape. So, no real surprise there, but it is incredibly powerful.
Man, I think I have to agree with you on this Barry Idol choice here for Legionnaire. This is a very strange build, very unorthodox, and it's certainly not working right now for Z-Freak. 3-6 and 2, 260 GPM. I mean, no portal key, nothing like a Souls, and the Souls is on Deadwood right now, but it's even had to be turned on to defensive. They're not able to really get anything happening. I'm sure he's toggling that when he does, but they're kind of really far behind at this point. What can Vote do to get back into this game?
I just don't think they have the lineup for it. I mean, as I said before, their team fight is not as strong as ORGE eSports, and when you look at this far of a gap and you don't really have a team fight to compensate, it is very difficult. Moon Queen still has the token. She has her Geo. She has double damage. Double damage again for the top lane push.
Yeah, Moon Queen with
deja vu going on.
Moon Queen with a token and a double damage pushing into the base right here. This is exactly like you said, deja vu. The melee Rax is just absolutely being destroyed right here. Tree wants to go in, but he's not able to do anything right there. And absolutely demolished right there. And he's just going to fall. And what? There's nothing that the Legion team can do at this point. Oh, Legionnaire even getting caught right there. And the Lava Surge going to be coming out. In comes the Keeper of the Forest ultimate, and the Engineer ultimate going to follow up. Z-Freak charging right through, and not going to happen. Keeper of the Forest is coming back in again. He bought back, but he's going to be taken down. The Eruption coming out there from Magnus, even going to be portal keying in on top of Keizu. Keizu trying to dodge the keg, not quite able to. Wants to take down Moon Queen, but Moon Queen going to survive with the Astrolabe coming out there from XXF on that Tempest, and Gary Jones in 2012 looks like they are going to have to CC in just a moment here. Keizu buying back once again, the Token of Life being activated. Moon Queen wants to come in. He wants to be able to finish off those racks, but actually it looks like ORGE eSports going to have to fall back for the time being, knowing that they don't have enough to finish pushing in right here. In comes the ultimate. Maybe no! A Hellfire actually being activated right there, and Swindle Melons falls. Keizu going to fall as well as Glacius. WTF absolutely demolishing on a bloodbath right here. The concede comes out, and GG as well, as ORGE eSports takes the second game in this series in dominating fashion.
Yeah, great job coming back there from ORGE. Honestly, I thought it looked pretty grim after the early game with like almost a 5k golden experience advantage coming out for the Legion team. But as we said before, the team fight was strong for ORGE eSports. They put together a little bit of a questionable defense in mid, and they took advantage of it and just drove the game home from there.
Yep. Well, a pretty good series right there. It seemed that whoever got Moon Queen and Warbeast really was going to take the game, as very interesting games, kind of mirroring one another right there. Interesting indeed. Moon Queen coming out very successful in both of those games. But a great series overall. This was a best of two, a static two, whatever you want to call it, because this was a replay cast from DreamHack Winter Group Stages. ORGE eSports taking on Gary Johnson. Split the series there 1-1. So we'll see how that really goes to favor either one of them. Maybe later in the tournament, whatever. But I've been your casting host, Beef. Joining me is Bryce, a.k.a. Emperor of Domain of Pain. Bryce, do you want to do another series?
I'm down for it. Did you have one in mind?
I think we can figure one out real quick. But let's close this one out real quickly. This has been a Complexity Cast with Beef and Bryce. Bryce, any kind of shout-outs real quick before we go to a break?
No shout-outs. Just thank you to everyone tuning in.
Yeah, big shout-out to everybody out there watching. Thanks, guys. We're going to go to a very, very quick break and bring you another series. So thanks for watching.